Whoa, oh, oh. La, da, 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 oh, oh, oh. La, da, 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 oh, oh, oh. La, da, da, da. Making our Christmas memory.
Hi guys and girls, welcome back to my channel. I do hope you're doing well. I do apologise, my lovely, because you will have seen the thumbnail and thought, that's not the usual amount of books we have on our book recommendations. I haven't read probably since May, to be perfectly honest, and there is actually one more book on here, but the old one I've given to Mum and the new one is still downstairs in the Christmas pile. So technically there's 5 books for the year, which is terrible because we normally always have between 10 and 12, but since the house move I have not had the time. I've not had the chance to read. When I was away I read a little bit, but 2025 I'm back on my reading hype. I cannot wait to get back into it. Now I have a bookcase, I'm holding myself accountable to make my way through these books, and I am on a book ban. You might think, we are going to go somewhere called xxBooks, and it's basically a warehouse to which there is rows and rows and rows upon rows. If you've been online, TikTok, Instagram, you would have seen it, of books that are 70% off the RRP. I've seen people get 30, 40 books for less than £100, and I'm like, that's dangerous. I can't lie, it is dangerous. To the point I'm like, we might need another bookcase. But that is something I think April time Dan said we'll go down. We are going to be on a book ban, all of us, even Dan. Dan has gotten back into reading, but we're all on a book ban now because I got plenty at Christmas. So now I'm starting my little Now I'm starting my little ow. Oh God, guys, did you see that? I just myself in the nose. You know, when I edit this, I'll have made that look like a proper little pshum. We will be having a list now of books to try and find at the warehouse. With the warehouse, from what I've seen, is there's no like set order. You literally just go down these aisles and see what takes your fancy. I'm thinking I might need to take a suitcase because I don't do baskets or anything. And if it's like you can only get what you can carry, I only have little arms, so I'm not going to be able to carry a lot. And I believe there's an upstairs as well. So if any of you guys have actually been to the xxBooks warehouse, let me know down below. Is it worth the hype? Is it like you see online? Are the queues as bad as you see online? Are all books really RRP 70% off? Or is it, no, it's just this section and that section's full price? Let me know down below. My current go-to for books is, of course, Waterstones. Waterstones, because I got the points card, when they do double points and triple points, I am a sucker because I have all of my books on my wish list. And then when them offers come up, I'm like, see what I can fit about. However, Amazon is also a good one for me, especially for the crime books. There's a lot of crime books that I can't find in mainstream. Waterstones, WH Smith, even the supermarkets. There is a collection I've got my eye on with my Amazon. Ryan Green collection. And it's all, majority is American horrors, and it's all like from early 1900s previous. So that is a box set I feel like I could be treating myself to. I was like, I could maybe get one a month and I'd be done by Christmas, because I believe there's only 8 volumes, but they're 20 quid a book. But inside the book there's 4 stories, so I'm like, it's £5 a book, but I'm like, I don't want to pay straight out the whole series because that's a lot of money. So what I'll do is, I think maybe at the end of every month, or if I've rewarded myself, I'll get myself a little book in that. But the ones that I have read that I've been absolutely babbling on about, they're quite a different mixture, and you guys may remember these from the monthly favourite videos. The first book of the year that I read was one that I would actually gladly read again. It was by Linda Calvey, and it's called Life Inside, The Hard Reality of Prison and What It Takes to Survive. So this is a true story from a lady that was around in the era of the craze. She was in that main gangland industry, let's just say, robbery, murders, that she was in that circle. And I'll read the blurb, as I always do, because it talks about her time as to when she was caught and when she was imprisoned, falsely or correctly, and her stories. And I've actually seen a lot of things on TikTok about this lady now, and she talks about her relevance in the industry to try and help youngsters to steer clear. So it says, widely known in the criminal underworld as the Black Widow, Linda Calvi spent the first half of her life running with the UK's top gangsters, robbing banks and rubbing shoulders with the Cray twins. That is until 1990, when her lover, Ronnie Cook, was murdered at point blank and she found herself falsely convicted. Linda was sent away for decades and would go on to become one of Britain's longest serving female prisoners, and this is her story of her life inside and how she learned to survive the many years she spent behind bars. Detailing the systems, characters and rules of prison life, as well as her encounters with notorious criminals such as Charles Bronson, Rose West and Myra Hindley, Linda gives a full account of her time locked up. Featuring stories of fights, dodgy dealings and what happens when a screw gets taken hostage, this is a gritty and eye-opening look at prison life from a woman who has seen it all. And I really did love this. Like, first off, the text was a great size. It was chaptered. If you're probably thinking, what does that matter? But if you know what I'm like, I love a good chapter. And it says on the back she's got a new novel called Faith. But I think that's a fake one. I much prefer like true autobiographies in essence. But it's not just like, I was born here and then I done this and then I done that. Like, there's a story, and the story in this that interests me is the crime in the prison. I said to Dan next year, I got quite a lot of crime thriller books. I want to get back into my thrillers like Lisa Jewell, what's it, not Martina Cole, Aldridge, is it Tim Aldridge, PJ James. There's new ones that I'm getting into. Lisa Jewell, she always sticks out because I actually see she has a new one in Waterstones. I was in London yesterday and I was like, no, I'll be good. E. Logan, I believe I've got one. I've got some chunky books for this year, and that's really something I wanted to have, a chunky one so that I'm more focused to sit there and read. Now, my time, I would say my time is very precious. And now I'm thinking on my lunch breaks, I'm like, right, I want to go for a walk, get the steps in. And then I'm thinking, well, I want to read. So I'm thinking I might try and walk in a safe area nearby to where I work, even if I have to just keep going around in a circle for an hour, but to be able to read and walk. Or get a little stepping machine and I'll take it in the car, and then I'll come out at lunch and I'll do my stepping machine whilst reading a book. We shall see, my lovelies. The next book that I read of the month, I mean, out of all, this is close, I feel like I was going to say this could be my favourite for the year. I feel like it actually could be over the Linda Calvi, just purely because of what this man stands for. So this is Toby Gutteridge, and it is in essence again his autobiography, and it's called Never Will I Die. And if you remember like vlogs around February time and my monthly favourites, I couldn't put this book down. And again, I'll read the blurb because it's to show that anything can happen in life, like really anything can. Toby Gutteridge was only 24 when he was shot through the neck while operating behind enemy lines in Afghanistan. He survived despite not breathing for at least 20 minutes. Back in the UK, the doctors recommended that his life support machine be switched off, but with the defiant spirit that would define his recovery, Toby pulled through. Now quadriplegic, capable of movement only with his head, Toby has rebuilt his life. He's an extraordinary story of survival against overwhelming odds and of the power of the human spirit to overcome extreme adversity. Brutally honest and authentic, he builds a compelling picture of the type of person produced by the Special Forces system and tells of how one split second changed the course of his life forever. Powerful and inspiring, Never Will I Die is a universal story about our search for purpose and explores how extreme experience shows us to what truly matters. Again, you're going to think this is really irrelevant, but For me, it's a good font size. There was good chapters, and this story, I actually done a lot of research on this man after I read his book, from prior pictures before his accident to how he was now and what he does now. And he advocates for people with disabilities, and especially within the armed forces, that it doesn't matter what happens, you can still have a life and you can still succeed. And honestly, this man is, if you go online, everyone goes online. What is that thudding? I think Dan's chopping some wood. He's got his axe out of there, guys. We're in the wood burning stage because it's been quite chilly the last few nights. So we've had the fire ablazing with the heating, and then once the fire kicks off, heating goes off. You know, don't want to give British Gas all the money. Oh, not British Gas, Octopus now. But yeah, the fire's like roaring. You will see in Vlogmas tomorrow. It is roaring, trust me. But anyway, this one, and it actually has on the front Tom Hardy. Toby's story demonstrates the true nature of inner strength and courage, and I think he's an inspiration to all of us. And that I would completely agree. If you're someone who likes a good autobiography, but someone with maybe, it's not just so necessary of pop star or a film star, like a special forces, he was an injured soldier at the end of it, and not just a mild injury. His life completely changed. He went from being this energetic lad who was about to be going into like special forces and like undercover, the top elite that you could get in special forces, and now he's limited to a wheelchair where he can only move his head. But he's still defiant, he's still living life, and this one, as I say, a very, very good read, I would say indeed, my lovelies. And then the other two, these were kind of ones, so this one was definitely just one that I picked up and was like, I need to read something, but I haven't got the time to like focus my full attention. So I read my Gemini book, which is basically a little sum up. Oh, I'm sorry. We had a really late night last night, guys, and I'm like, this isn't like me, because my body clock still wakes me up between 3 and 5 a.m. and I'm like, oh, please. This is basically a book all about a Gemini, and it tells you, say for example, your Gemini compatibility. It tells you your lover meter. It tells you what a Gemini is like to live with. Let's have a little recap on this, shall we? Because a Gemini, if left to their own devices, Geminis are pretty easygoing. I would agree with that. Problems can arise, however, if fellow housemates or partners request some idea of what they're up to or where they're going. It's not that Gemini minds people knowing per se, it's just that they often haven't made up their own minds. That is very true. This can make them appear rather secretive because it's not important to them to make plans and stick to them. They can't really understand why it should matter to anyone else. That bit I don't really understand, because I like to make plans and I like to stick. If I have to change a plan, it might be to do with like my OCD with the brain and that, but I hate having to change a plan, because in my head I will be ingrained like, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. And then if I change that, my brain's like, la 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 la, what you doing? And then I think, oh my god, I've got to change it in my diary, I've got to change it in my phone. Like, no one wants to cross through a line in the diary. I've got to take it off the calendar now. Like, yeah, that's what goes running through my head, guys. So that's what goes running through. However, while spontaneity and unpredictability are comfortable places for a Gemini, they can be extremely disconcerting to others. It's sensible for Gemini to be mindful of this if they want to avoid alienating housemates or partners. So I am very spontaneous, but likewise, Danny's also very spontaneous. So we kind of work well in both of that. I mean, there's been many a times where I've come back and I'm like, guess what I've done? And he'll be like, what? And I'll be like, I've booked us to go to a concert. And he'll be like, really? And then he'll come in and he'll say, I may have done something. And I'm like what? He'll be like, I've booked a hotel for next weekend. I'm like, let's grab a case and go. So we are actually both spontaneous. So on that, I would only semi half agree, because as I say, it doesn't always be disconcerting for others. Independent and outgoing, I do agree with that. A Gemini thrives on being social, so are seldom holed up in their room for days on end, and as a result their immediate domestic surroundings may only be of a passing interest. Kind of. I love being able to interact with people, but there will be times, well, not really because I'm at work all the time, but if I was able to, like there's times when I will spend hours in my room. If you're having a bad day and you're just not feeling it, I will literally just stay under the covers, or I'll be at mum's. I'll be like, nope, not doing it today, thank you, come back to me tomorrow. An intermittent tendency to blitz through cleaning, however, may find flatmates or a partner returning home to unrecognisable spaces where their belongings have also been tidied and reorganised to within an inch of their life. I do agree with that one, because when I am in a cleaning and organisational mode, that's it. Anything that is in my sight, whether it be mine, Dan's, mum's, anything at all, that all gets tidied. And then there's many a times where they come back and be like, where's that? And I'll be like, oh, it's there. Well, why have you put it there? I'll be like, well, I was tidying. I don't like, I mean, what I've been doing at the moment is tidying the windowsills, which you're probably thinking, shut up, basically. And our windowsill is the last that has just odd bobs on. We've got Christmas cards that are unused. We need to sort them out. And then the other end, we've got the curtain pole hooks. No, curtain tiebacks. I've got a set of them with a spare floodlight and Dan's aftershave. So it's like, okay, it's the last little bits. And I also need to steam or iron my curtains. Can you iron curtains when they're already hung? I'm picking up my iron tomorrow. It has a very long lead. No, because I'm going to have to use the ball as an ironing board, and oh god, that just sounds horrendous. Maybe not. Maybe I will have to take the curtains down, or I'll try and get my little steamer, or the fabric crease release. Will they work on curtains, guys? You're literally probably sitting here thinking, you absolute twit, but this is still new to me. It's still new to me, leave me alone. And then the final book of the year that I read, Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. Now, this technically is a love book, okay? It has a little bit of twists and turns, but I think there's another two or three, which I do have the series of. The writing is a bit smaller on this. Oh, no, maybe not do that one because there's swear words in there. This is a little bit expletive. It's a little bit smaller writing. But it says, bearded bad boy Barker Knox, God, that's a mouthful, isn't it? Prefers to live his life the way he takes his coffee, alone. That's unless you count his basset hound, Waylon. Knox doesn't tolerate drama, even when it comes in the form of a stranded runaway bride. Naomi wasn't just running away from her wedding. She was riding to the rescue of her estranged twin to Knockymount, Virginia, around all the edges town where disputes are settled the old-fashioned way, with fists and a beer, and usually in that order. Too bad for Naomi that her evil twin hasn't changed at all, and after helping herself to Naomi's car and cash, Tina leaves her with something unexpected. The niece Naomi didn't know she had. And now she's stuck in town with no car, no job, no plan, and no home, with an 11-year-old going on 30 to take care of. There's a reason Knox doesn't do complications or high-maintenance women, especially not the romantic ones. But since Naomi's life imploded right in front of him, the least he can do is help her out of her jam. And just as soon as she stops getting into new trouble, he can leave her alone and get back to his peaceful, solitary life. At least, that's the plan until the trouble turns into real danger. I actually really liked this. This was one where you had that classic, oh, he likes her, she likes him, but nope, they're both guarded. Then you've got a little bit of drama coming in. Then you've got some fights coming in. Then you've got jealousy coming in. I don't mind love stories that are a bit like that. The ones where he likes her, she likes him, they live happily ever after. I'm sorry, bore me. I can't read books like that. Whereas stuff like this, I can get to grips with. So yeah, I think I've got 2 more of these, so potentially they could be my February books. I try to read books how I think the months will be. So you'll notice September and October will be like autumnal horror-y books. You'll notice February I will try to read a love one. I mean, the last one I read last year, no, it wasn't last year, it was the year before. It ends with us and it starts with us, which is semi-love, semi-toxic, but that was the mood I went down. And then the ones throughout the general year, I can't lie, guys, they normally always seem to be thriller or crime, which I do think I need to move away from. But we will see. I'm going to try and put all my crime ones in with the Scandals with Shan bits, so we can just, that's where the crime stays. But I can't lie, I do have a lot of crime books. I have a lot of thriller books as well, and we're slowly building up the travel books. So we've got a lot of travelling books, whether that be walks, pubs, places we've been abroad, little like gift guide mementos. And then I've got some big box sets. So I don't know where they're going to fit in. I can't lie, but we will see. We will see. But as I say, I do apologise that it's not a huge one. Please do let me know, how many books have you read this year, my lovelies? And what would you say your favourite book has been this year? I don't want to ribbit rabbit because you are probably sick of my face. Since November, daily uploads, and we've had weekly vlogmases, you're probably thinking, girl, get a grip. You're really not going to like what's coming for the new year, because here was me saying slowing down, and I don't really think that's going to happen, my lovelies. I don't think that's going to happen. But as I say, if you did enjoy the video, you know what to do. Hit that thumbs up and subscribe down below. And as I say, leave us a comment. How many books have you read this year, and what has been your favourite? Or what is your favourite book overall that you've ever read? Is there one that sticks out? You guys, if you're an OG, you know what mine's going to be. Hidden Valley Road. I say it was the first book I picked up many years ago when I started this channel and I started getting back into reading, and that will forever and ever be my top book. I will always recommend that. If you're into true crime, psychology, forensics, medical, everything to do with that, that is the book to go for. But yes, take care, stay safe as always, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.